All right, what up, everybody? Can you hear me okay? Is the video's on here? You can see it. Rose, I see you said hey. What's going on? AV, welcome in. What's up? Just going to give it a few more moments and let some more people join in, and then we'll get started. Feeling really confident about this week. I think that there's going to be, well, I know that there's already quite a few good setups, so I'm just hoping that this week is kind of like last week where things play out the way that we think they're going to play out, right? Like there's not a lot of fake outs and back and forth action like there has been. You know, I'm hoping that when something looks like it's going to break out and it tries to break out, it actually does so. Patel, welcome in. Julian, Juan, Juice, what's up? Happy pre-Monday. Yeah, I'm so excited. I was ready to trade when I was ready to trade on Saturday. Like sometimes the weekends are too long. They're too long. I'm sure some of you dream about charts. You know, that still happens to me. I still go to sleep at night thinking about charts and like dreaming of A+ breakout setups. I mean, it's addicting, especially when you get a feel for like your strategy and your edge and what you're good at, and then you see the market kind of presenting those setups and opportunities for you. It's like, man, I just can't wait to get back in. I can't wait to get back and start trading. All right, we're going to get started here. Rosa, what's up? Hey, John. Prax, welcome in. Guys, welcome, and girls, welcome to this week's watch list review with Spartan Trades. So if you're new to these sessions, I'm going to talk about the overall market from a technical standpoint, and then I get into the watch list for tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some stocks to have alerts set on for the rest of the week. We'll call those side charts. And at the end of the session, I'm going to open up the floor for all of you to ask me questions in this chat right here. And we can talk about any stocks that you have questions on. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I feel like I legally have to say that. I'm on the daily chart time frame setup here for /ES. If you don't know, this is the future that SPY follows. This gives us insights as to how the overall market is moving. So futures are open, and it is currently pushed up a little bit, not too much, but it is pushing up. So what we have here on the daily chart, why I like to do my analysis on these larger time frames, is because I can see the overall picture. I mean, we are still clearly in this uptrend. Looked like a couple of times we were going to lose this 50 EMA as a support, but you know, it turns out we just validated that as a support, and so now we've bounced back up, right? And so last week, that's what this move was. We were pushing back up from this 50 EMA, basically confirming the recovery mode. And now we're trading just below this level at 39.60, right? So you see the resistance there. You see the resistance here. We're trading right here. We're trading just below this resistance, which is the highs. So I would set an alert right there, right at 39.60. That's going to be your most relevant point and the most recent point of resistance, all right, 39.60. To the bottom side, the immediate support is going to be down here at this hold number, right? And this is just support point 1, so that's going to be 3,900. You see, I'm not just drawing this line from here. I should probably pull that back for you. All right, so you see all of this support where it was validating it as a support when we got our last high, right? And then when it failed to hold, it kind of acted as a resistance right here. So now we're back above this price point, tested the high as a resistance, and validating this as a support. These are the only two levels that I'm watching for /ES this week. I want to see 3,900 right here continue to validate as a support, and I want to see 39.60 be broken as a level of resistance. So a break of either one of these price points, and we should be ready to take a trade in either direction. I'm not here to predict which way the market will head from here. I'm only here to make a plan and follow it. So this is my plan. I plan to stay long in the market if we break 39.60 and run. I plan to probably short the market if we break below 3,900 and fail to hold this as a support. And I plan to stay, or I plan to size down if we trade within this range and kind of chop around and consolidate for a little bit. Analysis doesn't always have to be so super in-depth and difficult. Sometimes the simpler the plan, the better, right? And so speaking of plans, here are the stocks that will be on my watch list for tomorrow. And these, by the way, they're in no particular order. The first one I'm going to be watching is APHA. APHA. All right. We were watching this for a potential breakout of this pattern right here, and it failed to break out. It actually broke down. So this point is really, or this pattern is really no longer relevant. What we kind of have here is a static level of resistance right around $20. So I'm looking for a rotation, possibly back into the pot sector, following the following Mexico passing the bill to legalize cannabis. So that puts the U.S. under a little bit of pressure, being between Canada and Mexico, and legalizing pot in the U.S. It may or may not happen. I don't know, but you always have like a buy the rumor, sell the news type of deal, right? So if that is a rumor, which it definitely is, I want to be ready to hop into this, to hop into any pot stock really, if they start picking back up with some momentum. So right now, resistance is at $20. I think I'm going to try to play it safe and take a long idea or long play over 20.5 or maybe even 21, depending on where we open up at tomorrow morning. I want to have extra confirmation on these plays because playing pot stocks is really tricky. Sometimes they will gap up and look like they're going to go and then just completely fade off for the entire day. And then they will reverse like the very next day, right? So it's difficult sometimes playing these, so you want to have that extra confirmation. My plan for right now is to take a long position over 20.5, but that may change in the morning depending on where this opens up at, right? So if it pushes up and close and opens up closer to 21, I have no problem, waiting for a break of 21 to take my position long. All right, and we could probably argue that this trend line that I had previously drawn is somewhat still relevant here. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but we could be seeing right here a break of this downward trend. I think if we get the break of 21, we definitely have that, right? And there's room up to about 22, 22.5 before it starts to get really interesting with the big moves up to like $30. So this could be the start of something bigger. We just need to stay patient and see if it's actually going to move. Right, so APHA over 20.5 or 21. By the way, these levels are just reference points for now. They will likely change in the morning depending on the market movements. The second one on the watch list will be AAL. Congratulations, first of all, to anybody that took this long on Friday. This was a stock that we had on our watch list, and we had it on our watch list for this reason. This pattern is known as an ascending triangle. It's literally one of my favorite patterns to trade. If you look at the... okay, no, so it wasn't... I thought it had one forming on the 5-minute chart time frame as well. I was mistaken, though. So it is a flat top level of resistance and a series of lower highs being compressed into the point, and the idea is at the point you get a big breakout move. This isn't a super clean ascending triangle, but the idea is there, right? And so patterns are kind of subjective. You just have to keep that in mind. Like if the general shape is there, you may be able to make it work as a pattern. In this case, this breakout worked out perfectly for us. So all that we are looking for from here is a continuation play on this breakout for the move top side. Okay, the next level, the next major level, I'm going to have to back this up to the weekly to show you. The next major level of resistance is going to be right around the $25 price point. I was pulling this line from this old support back here 1, 2, 3 times. It was kind of validated as support. So we know that old support can become new resistance. I don't know if this has the momentum or the power to move all the way from where it's currently trading at up to 25 in one day. You know, maybe it makes that kind of move, but all that we really need is a 2% move. So even if this goes from 23.5 to 24, that's 2%. That's plenty enough to take a trade on, plenty enough to take profits on. So I think that this profit margin is worth it for this trade, right? The risk to reward is worth it for this trade. As of right now, it'll be a long idea over 23.6 or 23.5, depending on where this opens up at, with a price target of 24 in mind. If this opens up any higher than 23.6, whatever that pre-market high winds up being, that's going to be the new trigger. All right, so for those of you that are not in my Discord server, I'm literally giving you like how you should adjust your trigger level for this in the morning. Whatever this winds up moving up to, just move your trigger level up to that pre-market high and take the play long over that level. The next one on the main chart watch list will be Pltr. All right, so this one's a little bit tricky because we don't really have breakout confirmation yet. I like trading Pltr though because it's a cheaper stock and it tends to make these larger moves. So like a 7% move in one day is like, I mean, that's really average for this stock, right? It makes really big moves. Talking about from a percentage standpoint, makes big moves intraday, usually has some pretty clean price action, has some pretty nice volume. So here's what I see. It's pulled back right from these highs at around $38 and $40 and started to validate $23 here, which was a previous support and support. Started to validate 23 as a support once more and then break this downward trend line. So we're no longer really trending down. It looks like we've started to break the trend and continue and begin to trade back up. The only thing right now that has me a little bit hesitant about taking a position on Pltr is that it's trading right at the 50 EMA, which is that green dotted line. That can be a level of resistance. So if it cannot break over 27 and hold, that's going to be basically taking the play away from us. This is what we're looking for, is a break over 27, because it's literally trading right at that 50 EMA. So we want to see a break over that break over that level, and a run up to like $28. I think it can easily move to 28, but it may even have the power to run to 30 if it can break out and really get some momentum behind it. So as of right now, Pltr, we are looking for a long idea or long position over $27. That's going to be a break of that 50 EMA and kind of even further validation that it is truly breaking this downward trend and is on the uptrend from here. The next one on the main chart watch list, Dkng. This was such a beautiful, beautiful play on Friday. Okay, so look, speaking of the ascending triangle, right? I just talked about that. This is what, or that is what this is right here. So this is why this was alerted in chat to take this position once it had broken this price point, right? So our trigger was, I believe it was right at $72 on Friday, but you could have taken a position way earlier than 72 to capitalize on this move up. And so a lot of my members did once I had mentioned this. But if you didn't catch this move, look how perfectly this treated 72 as a resistance, broke over, pulled back, tested that old resistance as what? New support. Hello, this right here was your entry point for this run up into the all-time high, and now that becomes our new resistance, right at $74. So from here, this is just very, very easy analysis. We're going to go back to the daily chart time frame. It did close under 72. That's okay. We want to see it push back up to 74 and break 74 for the next play. There is a potential play over $72 if it opens up below that price point, but I would be careful if you're taking the position over 72, because look, over 72, the next point of resistance is right here at 73. Then the next point over that is 74. So, you don't want to necessarily be limiting yourself here on profit margin because this could push up and just reject, or it could push up and reject and not break out. And the last thing you want to do is be caught in a play that's not really breaking out and that's kind of chopping around. So for me, I don't mind waiting for this to push back up to $74 before taking a position. But it's however you want to trade it, right? So over 72 is a possible play, but I think the trigger level for us is going to be set at $74. So for those of you that have joined in late, I have already talked about SPY. I've already talked about APHA. That's going to be a news play for us on our main chart watch list for tomorrow. I've talked about AAL. That's going to be a pattern break continuation. The ascending triangle pattern on the daily chart it's already broken out. We're just looking for the continuation play. PLTR, we are looking for the trend change / reversal to continue. And then we want to see it really break over that 50 EMA on the daily chart. And maybe we get some momentum behind it and a bigger move up. And then the last one on our main chart watch list will be Dkng. We're just looking for a break over $74 for a move into the highs. I'm going to mention some side charts, and while I'm doing that, this is the part of the live stream where you guys can type up anything right here that you want in the chat section, and I'll review it. But before you do that, I just want you to try to format the review tickers like how I just did with the watch list. So give me a couple of levels that you're watching. Tell me why you think the stock may have potential, and please don't mention any penny stocks. I don't trade penny stocks. It's not my thing, so I'm not going to break them down. No penny stocks, please. How do I think I can pin this. There we go. No penny stocks. All right, let's get into some side charts. All of these side charts, by the way, they have potential to make the main chart watch list. Okay, so don't sleep on these side charts. Even if I put them on the watch list as a side chart, like, you should really still be paying attention to these charts, because sometimes they're the ones that will make us the money and the main charts won't. I can't tell which stocks are going to break out and run. I only know which ones have the the power to, or that are presenting the setup to break out and run, right? I don't know which one is actually going to go, but that's how trading is. I mean, you have to see, you just have to see which ones are going to be moving, which sector is going to be moving at market open. So set alerts on all of these, and just be prepared to trade any of them. That is literally why we're going over the plan right now. Remember what I said at the beginning of the stream. Trading, you just want to make a plan and follow it, right? And hopefully that your plan works out. Boeing is the first one on the side chart watch list. I'll tell you the reason why this is a side chart is because it just feels a little overdone now at this point. You know what I mean? It's ran from 230 up to 270. I mean, we've literally been trading this like the whole way up, which is really good, but it's getting, this is 17% all the way up, 17% move up, and it's like all green, right? So there's some sort of pullback here that I feel is inevitable, and I don't want my members to be chasing this stock up and then have it pull back on them. So I don't know if tomorrow is going to be the pullback day or not. So for that reason, what I want to do is tell my team to set alerts on Boeing over $270. If it really gets some momentum behind it over 270 and decides that it wants to continue to run, by all means, we can continue to trade it. But if it doesn't break 270 and it's pulling back, there's no trade here for us, right? And we shouldn't even be, maybe you can look at shorting it if you're a short bias trader, but I'm just not that I'm not a short bias trader. I'm always going to be looking for the long setups. I'm always going to be looking for the breakout setups. This is already broken out. So again, that's why it's the side chart watch, but I think we would be foolish not to include Boeing on the watch list at all. So set alerts at $270. We'll look for the continuation over that price point, but if it doesn't get there, we have plenty of other things that we could trade. Disney. All right, so this one has recently gapped up. Here's your gap, by the way. All right, and if you don't know, all that a gap is a disconnect in price on the daily chart time frame from one candle to the next. You see that? So there's a gap here from like 190 or 191 up to like 194. The top sides and bottom sides of gaps tend to act as points of support and resistance, which means that Disney right now has support at $194. It's trading in this kind of tighter range right here, where it's having like a lot of these almost inside days, right? And this is, you can think of this as like a pressure being built up, and at some point something's going to give. My opinion is that it's going to break out and probably make a new high, but there's no play until it decides to do that, right? So the first alert that you should have is going to be set over the $200 price point. Over $200, the next resistance is going to be at this high. That's going to be $203. That should be where your next alert after 200 is set. So there's a few different ways to play this. You could look for a break of like 199 and play this with the basically anticipating the break of 200. That's a little bit more risky because you don't have confirmation that 200 is going to break, and it could easily just push up to that price point and reject. 200, the reason why that's significant is it's a whole number. 100, 200, 300, 400. Those are natural points of resistance within the market. So if you're like, part of the penny stock world, $1 is a big level of resistance for any penny stock. Kind of the same deal for like these larger cap stocks. Like every $100, even every $50 is a larger point of major point of like resistance and support. Either way, but in this case, it's resistance. So if you're taking the trade over 199, you're basically saying, I want to capitalize on the extra profit margin, but I don't mind the risk that it could reject. I prefer to just wait and play it over 203. But the reason why I have alerts set at 200 is because I want to know if it's breaking out over 200. Right? So like that's going to serve as like a warning, like, hey, Disney's moving. And then 203 is going to be like, hey, you should consider taking a position. Okay? But keep alerts at both of those price points. I think this is going to be a play, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. Something's got to give here. I don't think this will be consolidating like this for too much longer. Airbnb is this is another one that is breaking a whole number. Happens to be 200 as well. So here's your downward trend line. Basically, same kind of deal as right here, where it pushed up to a high, pulled back, and then took off. Right. So it pushed up to a high, it's pulled back. Basically confirmed the 250 EMA here as a support, and it's broken over the $200 whole number. We have all-time highs right here at 220, so set alerts there at $220 and just hang out until it breaks that price point. If it gets up to that level, we'll look at taking a trade on it. The reason why this is a side chart watch is because it's not there yet, right? So it's still under $210. I don't care really what it does in this area, but if it gets near 220, I'm probably going to put this on the watch list for an all-time high break. That's just a setup that I really enjoy trading because there is basically no price action back here dictating where this should stop if it gets going over the top. There's no limitations on how far it can go, right? So maybe it runs to 250. Who knows? But it needs to get there. We'll take one step at a time. It needs to get over 210 first. Then it needs to trade close to 220, and we'll take the trade over 220 if it gets there. Okay. Workhorse Wkhs. This is one that it's going to take some patience because it's sold off pretty heavily here and has basically been consolidating and bouncing around, not really doing a whole lot. But there's a ton of profit potential here for it to make like a ton of room for it to bounce if it bounces. There's nothing saying that this could bounce. It could just continue to sell off, but I want to make sure that you guys are all aware of the profit potential. So even from where it's at right now, resistance is at $18. The 200 EMA is just above at $20. So a play from $18 up to $20 is a possible day trade. Over 20, that's where it will really get interesting because the next major level above that price point for a resistance is going to be around $24, right? That's going to be near your 50 EMA. And then we could talk about this entire candle kind of being recovered, and then maybe even this gap being filled too. That's a bit of a stretch. All of that that I just mentioned, the only thing I want you to be focused on is a move over 18 for the play up to 20. Okay, that's all that we're focused on at the moment. So one step at a time. Again, we'll take the rest of it into consideration if we get to that price point, but over 18 to 20 is the play that I'm looking for. So set alerts at 18. We'll consider a trade on it if and when it gets there. The last one for my side chart watch list is going to be Tesla, TSLA. So kind of the same deal where it's sold off to this 200 EMA, pushed up, and is now trading under the 50. We've seen a lot of this same setup in the market, where stocks have sold off, bounced at the 200, and pushed up on a recovery mode. And they're like now looking like they're breaking this downward trend line and maybe breaking the 50 EMA. It's gonna, there's no telling where this goes from here. It could reject or it could continue to move. So this is a side chart watch because, look, it's trading just below 700, which is a whole number. We know that number acts as a natural point of resistance. It's also trading below 720. I know better than to try to take a trade right over 700 or right over any whole number on Tesla, because what it likes to do is push up like 5 or 10 points past a whole number and then reverse and dump on you, and then fake out a bunch of people. So I'd rather not get caught in that and just wait. I have no problem waiting for a break of $720, right? That's going to be a break of this recent high, a break of the 50 EMA. That's going to give me that extra confirmation that it's breaking the 700 whole number, and that extra validation that it's on its way back up. So set alerts at 720, wait for a break of that price point, then you could take a potential trade. If you don't mind the risk, you could take a trade over 700. It's just not for me, right? I would rather just wait and see what Tesla is going to do from here. All right, so if you're just tuning in, we've already talked about APHA, AAL, PLTR, and Dkng. I just went over the side charts for this week. That's going to be Boeing, BA, Disney, DIS, ABNB, WKHS, and TSLA. I am now moving into the Q&A portion of the live stream, so let's see what you all have for me. I love this part because trading is it's a team effort. It's funny because it's not a team effort, but it is a team effort. Like, there's no way that you could possibly catch every setup and every stock on your own. So the benefits of trading with a community is that people present different perspectives and different ideas that you may or may not agree with, and can learn from and get trade ideas from, and sometimes can make you some money. So I've actually found these live streams, with giving you guys the ability to call plays and bring up setups. I try to go through all of them, but I've found it super helpful. Not only for you all, but even for me sometimes. Adding stocks to my watch list that maybe I've never analyzed before, or just getting a different view and a different perspective on a stock that I might have just glanced over really quickly. All right, so the first one we're going to see, let's see, John mentioned Uber as a play. He's saying that the reason why it's a possible play is because there was a analyst upgrade. Looks like a great play over 61, and do I see a trigger level? All right, let's talk about Uber. All right, so the next, I always start my analysis on the daily, and I basically take where we're currently trading at, and I try to find the most relevant levels of support and resistance. This is going to be, that just stands out to me right there because it's a peak. So it's a peak before a larger drawback and then a push up. And now we're kind of breaking that peak. So this doesn't really register as a relevant point of resistance. So from here, I want to see where's the next point of resistance. I see 4 candles that have been basically rejected at this level. And then above this, I see a move up to 64. So that's going to be at 61. And there's a profit margin up to 64. We want to calculate, do we have 2% here over 61? I mean, yeah, look, even if it only moves $1 over 61 to 62, that's pretty close to a 2% profit margin, and that's really all that you need to make some decent gains. So I would agree with you, John. A play over 61 is possible for, I mean, maybe even a move up to 64, 63 or 64. That's what it's done the past couple of times that it's broken over 61. I mean, it's made a move like that. So I would, yeah, I would agree. A play over 61 up to 63 or 64 is totally possible. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm going to write that down to check on that in the morning. Good eye. There we go. So first one is that was a good analysis, good breakdown. CCIV over 28 with some eyes. What are you saying here? Juice, come on. Let's see what you got for us. Over 28. Okay. Okay, I would agree with that. I would be very careful with CCIV, but it does remind me of like Workhorse, where it's sold off really aggressively and has the potential to make a larger bounce move. But I mean, yeah, I would be careful because it's sold off like this for a reason, right? So resistance, support, support, resistance, right at 28. There you go. Set that alert. I'm going to set mine. And you know what you're talking about there. I don't think I need to mention anything more, Juice. He put the eyes next to it because he knew that looks like a decent play. I would be careful though. Because it did sell off for a reason, but I mean, it is trading right at the 50. Pin. Inclusion into the S&P. Do you think we could see some more sympathy movement for Dkng if Pin decides to rise? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely possible. Sympathy plays they're kind of underrated. Sometimes I prefer to trade the sympathy play rather than the actual play because you'll get what's called a laggard within a certain sector, and so there may be like bullish news for okay, so let me give you like a hypothetical example. Let's say there was like bullish news for AAL, and then you see like DAL take off, and then UAL is like still consolidating and moving sideways. I may be watching like that. I may be watching like UAL, like waiting for that move to happen as it's consolidating, rather than trying to chase the other two and get in. Does that make sense? So that way I can like catch the beginning of something rather than the end. So like that's a good example of sympathy, like the power of sympathy plays. I think that DKNG, regardless of what Pin does, DKNG presents a really good setup anyways. So it's going to be on the watch list no matter what. Okay. Yeah, let's try to give me some analysis here before RBLX, by the way, doesn't have enough data for me to go off of, so I'm going to skip that one, but I want to see some breakdown, some analysis. Yeah, is it Monday yet? Not yet. We got not too long though. We don't have too much longer. SOS is at the edge of a wedge. Okay, edge of a wedge. That rhymes. On the daily, looks good over 7. Profit target 725 for a 3.5% move. This is one that I've seen. All right, so I stay involved in the community. This is one that I've seen called out by a bunch of people. Be careful on these hype stocks like this. You need to be careful. I do like the setup. I actually really do like this what is being presented here, because it looks like a big like pennant pattern, right? But stuff like this, it could be a pump and dump. So you don't want to be that person that's getting caught up in the dump portion. Regardless, what you said, a move over $7 is, that looks good to me too. All right, so break over 7 looks great for a move, and hopefully, if you're trying to get caught in something like this, hopefully you do. If you take the trade long, hopefully you get caught up in the big pump upwards. I love seeing people make crazy money on trades like this. It's not my style, so I would probably never put something like that on the watch list. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really even put GME when it was running. I didn't put that on the watch list at all, but we did trade AMC. I just felt like AMC had more of a reason to be running than GME, but yeah, just be careful with these hype stocks. Over 7 does look pretty good though. At the edge of a wedge. That's funny. Okay, Amar, Airbnb, inverted cup and handle on the daily, travel restrictions relaxed. Yeah, man. Hey, so I don't know if you caught my analysis for my side chart watch list, but I talked about Airbnb. Set alerts at $220 right over the high. Easy money, easy trade, right? And I don't mind waiting for it to break over 220 from 210. It's got to get there first, but until it gets there, I don't really see a play. Just from my end, you could trade from 210 to 220, but I would rather wait for that confirmation. Sharma, Baidu making a fish hook at 5-minute breakout at 264. Oh, let's see. He's saying it's a fish hook. Let's see what it is. On the 5-minute? I don't think that's a fish hook pattern. Fish hook at the 5-minute breakout at 264. I don't know if I would agree with that, to be honest, because for it to break out at 264, you would need a lot of room here to run past 264, and I don't see that. I see resistance at 270, so I don't think that it would be a breakout over 264. I don't really know what to make of this because it's clearly on a downtrend and is trying to reverse and trying to hold this 50 EMA. So it could be breaking the downtrend here, but I don't know that. I mean, I know for a fact I wouldn't take a trade at 264. If anything, I would wait for 270 or 271 or 272 to break to give me that confirmation that it wants to validate this 50 EMA and move up. But I have to be careful because I'm such a long bias trader that I may not even see that this could look like a bear flag, right? Which means this could come down just as easily as it could validate and break out. It could also validate the continuation pattern that it's already in and break down. So for me, I would say that your 264 level is not a breakout level. 272, 273 would probably be more realistic for a breakout. And then I don't know what you were talking about on the 5-minute. That was let me see. This looks more like. Actually, I don't even see anything really. I was gonna say it could be more like a symmetrical triangle that broke down and then kind of recovered, but yeah, I don't see anything as far as the whole day goes. Indecision. That's what that candle means. Indecision. Could go either way. Be careful on this one. CGC, a triangle at 34.5. All right, so what we talked about with sector plays and sympathy plays is true for CGC, for this play as well. We have already put APHA on the watch list, and so the idea was that this is going to be a possible play for a pot sector rotation. If APHA goes, it's my belief that CGC will go, that TLRY will go, that maybe SNDL will go, right? The whole sector might be popping and moving. So it's up to you which one you really want to trade or feel like trading. Yeah, I would say that this is, so you said it's a triangle. I would say this is maybe like more of a, it's tough to say with that after hours action, but maybe more like a bull flag than a triangle. Because a triangle you'd want to see like, you know, you'd want to see like lower, or excuse me, higher lows, but I don't see that here. If anything, I kind of see like, this is like this weird flat, flat level. I guess it could be like a wedge or something. Either way, it doesn't matter. Patterns are kind of subjective. 34.5. Yeah, so just like with APHA, I mean, I would just be looking for a break over this most recent high. All right, so APHA, it was 20.5. CGC, it'll be, you know, what'd you say, 34.5. Your level's correct. I don't know if the pattern's correct. Zach Hoskins says hello. Hey, what's up? All right, thoughts on MU. You're seeing an ascending triangle on the daily. Broke, I like it over 89 and 90 since it's been rejected a couple of times. I do not see an ascending triangle here. I do see kind of like a bear flag, taking into consideration that. I think I see what you're trying to talk about though. So you're trying to say that like this right here is an ascending triangle. That's the shape is correct. The previous trend is not. Right. So for an ascending triangle, remember it's a bullish continuation pattern. So for it to be a continuation, the previous trend needs to be up. Right, so you would find an ascending triangle formed at like the top here, as opposed to following a downtrend. The shape is correct. The analysis for the pattern is not. I don't have any thoughts on MU really, other than like, you know, it looks like it's just chopping around and consolidating. If you go back to the weekly chart, I have to back this up like all the way back. Max available, 97.5. That's going to be your high. Right? So until it gets over that price point, until it gets over 97.5, I don't really see a trade. But over 97.5, I think it has potential up to 100. But that's why you see my alerts set, you know, at 96. I actually don't have one set at 97.5. But over 96, maybe there's a trade up to that price point. It needs to get there first. So from here, you know, it could go either way. This could break down or it could break out. It kind of looks like it's maybe going to break down, but who knows? For over 90 is still a possible play, though, because that is your true line of resistance, or your most recent level of resistance. So it may be beneficial to you to go ahead and set an alert there. Even if I think that this is a bear flag pattern, it doesn't mean that it needs to break down, or doesn't mean that it has to break down. This could easily, you know, turn around and break out. I mean, patterns do whatever they want anyways. Like, just because a pattern is bullish doesn't mean it breaks out, right? They fake out all the time. Amazon holding the 200 EMA on the daily, I'm assuming, waiting to break 3100 for the move to 32. Yeah, so it did. It pulled all the way back to the 200 EMA. It actually broke below the 200. I would think that it can't go to 3200 until it gets over this 50 EMA first. That 50 EMA is still a really powerful indicator on your daily time frame. And so I would think that, you know, 3160 or 3150 would be resistance 1 from where it's currently trading at. Actually, resistance 1 would be right there at 3130. So over 3100, you'd have 3130 being resistance 1, and then probably somewhere around this 50 EMA would be resistance 2, and then you would be looking for the play up to 32. But yeah, no problem. There's no problem with taking this long over the whole number at 31. I do still like that. Frank, okay. RBLX does not have enough. There's not enough price action there for me to do any analysis on. I don't know. I have no thoughts on this. Like, there's the high, here's the low, and it's trading literally right in the middle. So it's anybody's guess, like, where this goes. 50-50 shot. I don't know. I don't know where this goes from here. Riot moves with Bitcoin, right? And so I think Riot, where it's at right now, like Bitcoin hit the highs over the weekend. It's probably going to gap up and move. So doing technical analysis on something that is, probably going to gap up feels a little like pointless, because who knows where it could gap up to. But $80 is your that's going to be your high. So it's at this very interesting point where it could really get some momentum behind it. I was actually thinking about buying it down here, but I already own Bitcoin, and I try to diversify, so it didn't make sense for me to own something like Riot or Mara if I already own Bitcoin. I actually bought Bitcoin on that dip anyways, so I still wound up kind of taking advantage of that position. When picking a contract, which ones do you like going for? Same Friday. Okay, so in the Q&A channel within the Discord server, read the pinned message there. I answer this in like super detail for you. Prax says thanks for the great work. Yeah, thanks for attending the stream. Thanks for watching it. I hope it helps out, right? I'm sure it does, because that's why you guys come back every weekend. What do I think of playing UPS as a sympathy play for FedEx? FedEx followed nicely off UPS when they killed earnings. Okay, so what is your let's see, UPS, all right, and then FDX. Okay, so you're thinking that, yeah, I mean, look, if it starts running, like, sector sympathy plays are great. I would just be careful with this going into earnings. Like, I would be careful anticipating that they beat earnings, because companies can present good numbers and still, like, the price action or the price can still fall. The stock price can still fall. So don't like just buy a bunch of UPS thinking that FedEx is going to beat, and then you're upset when they don't beat, or you're upset when they do beat and then the price still falls. Just be careful trading something into earnings. I feel like that's more of a gamble than anything. But yeah, I mean, sector plays work, right? Cat is an all-time high play. Yes, it is. It is not one that is typically day traded though. So I'm not gonna put it on my watch list. I did see this though. If you prefer these kind of, I mean, I call them like they're like usually slower movers. Like, look at the average true range on this. I guess recently it's had more momentum, but if you prefer something like this that tends to kind of move a little slower, then by all means, feel free. This is why I don't like this back and forth action just to catch a move like that. It's somebody mentioned it and to me earlier as a pop and chop stock, right? So it like chops around and then pops, and then chops around and then pops. Not this day. This looked really good for trading, but yeah, something like this. Like, if you don't mind holding through all this chop, then by all means go for it. But I prefer to trade something that moves a little more directionally, consistently. But yeah, 230, I mean, or 229 even. There's still a possible play there. All right, so I already went over Uber. I would recommend just going back to the live stream after we end and checking that one out. I'm gonna do two more. All right, so I'm gonna do UA and then Twitter, and then yeah, this video will be so it'll be available for 24 hours. So I'm gonna go over UA and then I'll go over Twitter, and then we'll call it a stream. So UA, oops, US, UA. Yeah, so you said over 20. Ronald, good find. Let's back this up to the weekly. All right, so what I'm looking at on the weekly is I'm trying to find if there is any point of resistance near $20 that's relevant. And like, this is actually a really good setup, because look, this is not even, you don't even have to wait for it to get to 20. Look at this resistance there. It's 19, what is that, 1965? That's the year I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't born in 1965. Look at after hours. It's up to 1965 after hours. That's crazy. I promise this wasn't planned. Yeah, look, I would look for a break of like 1972 and play it up to that $20 price point. I mean, this stock is cheap enough where like a move from 72 up to $20 is almost 2% anyways. Great setup. Good find. This is man, this is ripe. This is almost looking like an ascending triangle too, right? So there's your flat resistance. There's your series of higher lows, kind of like roughly drawn. And then this level is not only relevant here on the daily, but it's relevant on the weekly chart as well. Really good find. I'm setting an alert right there. Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Perfect. I love setups like this. I don't know how this trades intraday. Maybe it'd be something that you would want to swing rather than day trade. But I mean, the setup still looks great. All right, so Twitter is kind of looking like either okay. So this would look like an ascending triangle, right? But the preceding the trend prior was down. So I don't see a play here until it breaks $70. And you said that, yeah, okay, yeah. So you said over 70. Okay, Thomas said it looks good over 70 despite the bear flag on the daily. Also under 63 for a short. Yeah, I mean, you could probably get away with like a short under 65 or something because at this point it's making higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So as soon as it makes a lower low and breaks this higher low trend, then you have a likely trend change, which means that you could potentially take a short below 66 because that would then be a lower low and not a higher low, right? It would not be validating this upward momentum anymore. But I prefer to have extra confirmation, so I would probably say like just wait for a break below 65 and short it there. Your trigger level at $70 is good. I would leave that. You could get away with a long over like 68 or 69, maybe 69, but 70 is a lot safer. So wait for a break of 70 if you're going to trade this to the top side. Otherwise, a short below 65 down to 62 or 63 is possible. Cool. All right. Thank you all for your time. If you tuned in late for the live stream, all of this is going to be available for the next 24 hours, I believe. After this session ends. So we talked about APHA, AAL, PLTR, Dkng, all of those making the main chart watch list. Boeing, Disney, Airbnb, Workhorse, and Tesla all making the side chart watch list. We have some really, really good setups for tomorrow, especially if this market can break into the highs. Hopefully it waits on us and doesn't do that after hours or pre-market. So if we get a break of this 39.60 level, hold on. We might be in for a nice green bullish day. Otherwise, be ready to anticipate some type of chop if we can't break that price point, or be ready for some type of pullback, minor pullback. We'll have to see where we go. I like our setups for tomorrow. Keep an eye out for the exact trigger levels being posted on the watch list in the morning. Thank you all for your time. Take care. I'll see you in chat.